I recently finished reading the book Richer, Wiser, Happier by William Green, and I must say that it is one of the best investment books that I've ever read. I've garnered invaluable learnings from this book and have concised it into 21 timeless investing lessons. If you're someone who is really serious about building long-term sustainable wealth, then you shouldn't miss out on this video. In case you are new here, then hi, I'm Harshdeep Srivastav, a corporate finance graduate, an ex-investment banker, and now an entrepreneur. If you love watching videos on personal finance, then do consider supporting this channel by smashing that subscribe button. So without any further ado, let's get started. Lesson 1. Make your mistakes non-fatal. Even the best of investors are wrong 2/3 of the time, and so whenever you find an attractive idea, then don't get carried away and take excessive risk by investing a large portion of your portfolio in just that one idea. It's because over-concentration can be fatal to your portfolio. Because if that idea doesn't work, it would become really difficult to recover from that loss. Fred Martin, who is an ace investor, religiously sticks to his principle of not investing more than 3% of his assets in one particular stock at the time of purchase. And so, at any point of time, he has 45 to 50 stocks in his portfolio and is still able to beat the index returns with a wide margin, and that too for decades. Lesson 2. Don't borrow money to buy stocks. Charlie Munger says that there are 3 things that ruin people's lives: drugs, liquor, and leverage. The long-time manager of Sequoia Fund, William Ruane, once shared that he had borrowed money to buy stocks. His personal experience was that he was able to multiply his capital multiple times, but in just one downturn in the stock market, he had to sell all of his stocks for a loss and he was back to square one. So for a peaceful mind, never think about leveraging to buy stocks. Lesson 3. Invest in companies that are built to last. Basically, the objective here is to find companies that have a long shelf life and that have the potential to scale continuously. The co-founder of Nomad Investment, Nick Sleep, has coined the term destination analysis, which is basically a method to find companies that last. It involves asking 3 questions. What is the intended destination for the business in the coming 10 or 20 years? What must the management do to raise the probability of arriving at that destination? And lastly, what can prevent the company from reaching that favorable outcome? The answer to these questions can bring a lot of clarity, and you can build a portfolio that can survive the toughest of times. Lesson 4. Only buy stocks of companies that fall under your circle of competence. Never risk your capital in a stock which might be performing well but whose products and services you don't understand. It requires in-depth know-how of what a company does to evaluate the probability of it winning in the long term. Some people just buy any stock with the tiniest amount of information, and that is a very risky affair. Lesson 5. Ensure that there is always an asymmetry between risk and reward. When you invest in a stock, then the probability of upside should be much greater than the downside. As the British investor John Templeton said, "Sure, I may lose $100, but if I don't lose, I might make a lot." Lesson 6. Skepticism calls for pessimism when optimism is excessive, but it also calls for optimism when pessimism is excessive. What this simply means is when the markets are irrationally bullish and the stocks are trading at highest ever PEs, then it might be time to be pessimistic and protect your capital from sudden downfalls. But the opposite is also true. When the markets are overly bearish, like during the time of COVID-19 breakout, it may be time to be optimistic and add quality stocks to your portfolio with the hope that the world will not fall apart, which has been the case in past economic downturns as well. Lesson 7. Avoid crowd madness of chasing fads. During the 2007-8 infrastructure boom, everyone was investing in infrastructure stocks. Companies like Suzlon and Unitech were trading at really high unsustainable PEs. There were many retail investors who believed that infrastructure was the industry that was going to take India ahead, and so they invested in these kind of stocks even at their peak. In 2008, when the mortgage crisis happened, these fundamentally weak stocks lost 90% of their value, and that led to many retail investors losing their entire capital. In a nutshell, it is important to buy stocks of companies at fair prices book by doing critical analysis such as comparing the market price of the company to its sales volume per share, its asset value per share, and its average earning per share. Lesson 8. Don't ever time the market. No one, literally no one knows how the stock market will perform in the future or how an individual stock will perform in the future. Howard Marks, the chairman of Oaktree Capital, says that change is the only certainty, and so the single most reliable route to investment riches is to buy cheap. Lesson 9. Do a devil's advocate review before investing in a stock. Bill Nygren, who manages Oakmark funds, is famous for his style of conducting a devil's advocate review. It basically entails looking at the strongest bullish as well as the strongest bearish case to evaluate whether a stock is worth investing. If its bearish scenario makes you uncomfortable, then you better stay away from that stock. Lesson 10. In stock markets, so much hinges on your ability to wait for rare moments. There's a very famous quote by Blaise Pascal. All of humanity's problems stem from a man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. As far as investing is concerned, it is about finding wonderful companies and then waiting for periods when the odds of making money far outweigh the odds of losing it. Just so you know, Warren Buffett's Berkshire is built on the principle of buying wonderful companies at fair valuations which have a durable competitive advantage and an honest CEO. Lesson 11. Know the incentive of the recommender. Often, people who are not confident of investing by themselves go to a fund manager, a stockbroker, or a financial advisor for recommendations on which stocks to buy. The only thing that they're not aware of is that the incentive of those parties is most of the times not linked to the performance of your portfolio. So it's really important for you to figure out if the fund manager's incentive is aligned with your best interest and is not there just for the fees on the AUM. Lesson 12. Be unemotional. In the world of investing, being unemotional has its own perks. It is because when you will be right, you will blast with good feelings. But when you will be wrong, it takes a lot of resilience to keep coming back. Lesson 13. Stay away from distractions. John Templeton, one of the greatest investors, says that television and movies are a form of slow suicide. They are thieves of your time. If you take today's world, then endless social media scrolling does the same thing. He instead recommends to read inspirational books and corporate filings and shape our lives to have some meaning. Lesson 14. Never sell quality stocks in a downturn. A lot of people have the habit of investing all of their liquid money into stocks. They have very less cash reserves with them. In times of emergency, when you might need cash and the stock market is also in a downturn, then you will be forced to sell your stocks at a loss. This is why it is important to have a health insurance and at least 6 months worth of your expenses as cash reserves. Lesson 15. Avoid investing in imprudent companies. Imprudent companies are the ones that often make short-sighted decisions, take excessive debt, and ignore financial discipline. Companies with imprudent management do not survive economic downturns or competitive pressures in the long term. Lesson 16. Follow earnings to reap returns. William Danoff, who has been the long-time portfolio manager of Fidelity's flagship contra fund, says that his secret sauce of making amazing returns in the stock market is that stocks follow earnings. His fund has outperformed the S&P 500 for decades by having a single-minded focus on predicting earnings growth. If the earnings per share of the company seems to be increasing, the stock price will eventually follow. Lesson 17. You can't buy cheap if you don't know how to value a company's stock. There are various ways in which you can value a stock. Joel Greenblatt, who is the founder of Gotham Capital, shares in his interview that he uses methods like discounted cash flow analysis to calculate the net present value of the company's future earnings, relative valuation to compare the company to similar businesses, and liquidation value calculation to analyze what it will be worth if it closed and sold all its assets. By using these valuation techniques, you'll be able to evaluate the intrinsic value of the business and thereby invest in it if the current trading price provides a good margin of safety. Lesson 18. Inculcate in yourself the art of subtraction. There's a significant advantage of subtracting mental clutter, technological intrusions, and overstimulation because that frees your brain power. As Jeffrey Winnick, an ace investor, puts it, you'll be able to analyze more number of companies, find more good ideas, and thereby better your portfolio's probability of beating the index returns. Lesson 19. Don't make standard stupidities. Charlie Munger said that people make stupid mistakes in the stock market, One of the most common error among them is investing in a cyclical company at the top of the cycle. For instance, steel and cement usually have a cyclical demand, and so one needs to be aware that you make money in these stocks only when you invest at the bottom of the cycle. Lesson 20. Invest at the lowest cost. It is really important for you to know that whenever you invest your money, you are charged only a nominal fee. Even when you invest in mutual funds, you must ensure that the expense ratio is as low as possible. There is no point paying lavish fees to fund managers or financial advisors whose performance doesn't justify the expense. In 2001, Jack Bogle, who is a renowned investor, points out that most of the times low-cost index funds beat actively managed funds because they are burdened with high operating expenses and transaction costs. Lesson 21. Hope is not a method. Never hope for a falling stock to recover just because you invested in it. Be rational and get out of wrong decisions fast. Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett admire people who seek disconfirming evidence that could disprove even their most cherished beliefs. Being able to discover one's own error has an inestimable advantage in investing. So there it is. These were the 21 timeless investing lessons that are garnered from the book Richer, Wiser, Happier by William Green. I hope that this video gave you valuable insights and will help you to increase the returns of your portfolio in the long term. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for my next video.